Anthony. Hi, everybody. This is Anthony.
Action. So I'm Anthony with Sherlock Holmes Property Inspections. I'm going to go over the report real quick with you, and then when you get a chance to look it over, if there's questions, you can reach back out. First off, what a property inspection entails. You know, it's a visual inspection. The beeping's not stopping off. So it's a visual inspection, so you know we're not tearing holes in the walls or anything like that, but everything that I can open, close, get in, get on, turn off kind of thing, we've been able to do so. A couple limitations. We don't walk on roofs, but I have a drone that I flew above the property, so you're going to see images of the roof, different angles, all of that good stuff. And then I don't run sprinklers, but I believe that's all taken care of by the HOA anyways. Two icons to look for. Blue bar is going to be general information, so you're going to have photos of every room, below every sink, aerial shots, attic space, exterior, garage, lots of information. Then you're going to see a yellow or an orange bar, and that's going to identify any deficiencies. Right now, we're going to just talk about what's wrong. So there's not a lot, just a few little items. You'll see I make mention of on the exterior patio and above the roof, there's some hardware where the old patio cover, where the lattice connected to these beams, the screws have kind of backed out a little bit, or I should say the lag bolts, they're quite large. They're really not supporting anything any longer because they've opened that area up.
So this is the front porch?
The front porch, yes,
okay.
That is correct. And there's a couple on the back porch as well. It just needs a, you know, I'm sure maybe that could be an HOA item as well. It's probably been like that for 30 years, but
these are the screws that go into the metal bracket.
Yes, so you have your hardware, your post, and then the beam. It just kind of holds everything together.
Okay.
So I was just being picky. We do have some cracks in the rear patio walkway, very typical, not to the point of tripping hazards, but just watch those. And it was probably caused by, you know, just settling and root intrusion over time. So you'll see that, very basic. As far as the garage, it's really considered a carport. It's nice that they've converted those. You know, we checked the functionality of the opener, no problems whatsoever. There are some minor cracks in that floor as well, but I don't see any true signs of damage. I did note, we talked about over the garage, you'll see that there's some beams and some posts. Termite inspectors here as well. We kind of just were looking at that together, and it just looks like there was some dry rot or some possible old moisture issues that have been just touching and having some issues.
Actually, maybe can we run out and
Absolutely.
go take a quick? All right,
we're back. So these are some of the items we were talking about. So anytime that wood is exposed to moisture or the elements, you're going to get these types of issues. So there's little soft spots in here, and the termite guy is going to call the same items out, I'm assuming as well. But it's just the water comes off of this drip edge, and then it starts to get in contact with this wood. And over time, you're going to start to get those separations or just deterioration. Same thing right behind you, Mark. I just want to show you. Inside like this, we have some gaps here, and then there's some damage in this area as well.
So the question would really be, is this an HOA item or not? Because if it's an HOA item, then it just, you just ask the HOA to deal with it. Yep. Otherwise, it has to happen. Okay.
Absolutely. And then while I have you, I just want to show you these pieces of hardware here. See, we have some gaps in here.
Oh, so this is what you're talking about?
Yeah, very minimal. I mean, this isn't going, come on. This isn't going anywhere, but I just noted a couple bolts that are a little bit loose, and that it just needs to be tightened up or leave them alone.
And you were being picky. Okay, good.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's not much on this place to write up, so you'll see that. All right, you want to transition?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to walk in with you.
Okay.
There you go.
You got that. So we talked about, so as far as the roof, roof looks great. We have a couple cracked tiles, and you're going to see some images, I'm not sure if you can see that in the phone.
Yep.
So same little thing here, we got some cracks. So the way that the roof is laid out, you have a flat section. This is over the carport, and it's actually, these are solar bladders. There's water in them that feed the pool. So I'm assuming by looking at that, obviously the HOA must take care of all of it because they're putting their items on top of that. As far as your attic, you're gonna see there's an access point in the main hallway. We stayed to the attic access. So there's not a catwalk or a platform to walk around. So the last thing I want to do is come fall into your ceiling. So you're going to see a bunch of images. You'll see that I make mention of possible asbestos wrapping. And the reason I say that, there's a pipe, an old vent pipe. It's labeled Johnsville Transite. It's very common. I can pretty much tell you 99.9%. It probably is asbestos. I just can't test it. What it is it's a vent pipe for the furnace. You're never going to touch it. Don't hit it, don't chew it, you'll be fine. I just always say, if you want to have it removed, you can.
But they're so delicious. The chewing thing sounds so enticing. Oh my God.
Absolutely. So I always have to tell you as the inspector, hey, it could be there. You could have it tested. You're not breathing this. It's strictly a vent pipe. There were some exposed electrical splices in the attic space. very typical. I mean, I don't like it, but it's something easily fixed. So these wires should be inside the junction box with a cover on it, just so, obviously, electrical, we don't want it in contact.
So if you're ever having someone do a little work, you have them go up there and just put a cover on it.
100%. And that's just a handyman job. Very, very simple. And then some of the ducting in the attic. Over time, you're going to get some of this exterior cover that starts to split. And this is, it's happened in here a little bit more because you have these large windows that allow all that light in. So that UV light comes in and it kind of breaks down that lightweight plastic.
So do you think these are the original ducts that are in here, or
It's very hard to say. I would probably say no, but there's really no way to tell. I mean, it's difficult because I see these still to this day in homes in the 80s and 90s, very common. Now everything is aluminized. So if it was a new duct, I could say, oh, they didn't have that. So They did have this style back then. And you know, they look that they've done, I know they've done work on them because you can see they have aluminized duct tape and they've gone through and they've repaired some of the connection points.
Okay, so it looked like it was all in really good shape.
Yeah, it's just the outside covering around the duct was worn. So, which is common. So worst case, if you wanted to, there's not that many feet of duct that needs to be replaced. You could put the aluminized, you know it's all clear, clean, good to go, that could be done. There are some old water stains on the bottom side of the sheathing in the attic. You can see where there was a roof leak at one point. It's completely dry right now. With the amount of rain that we've had this winter, probably the most ever, it's dry. Now, we haven't had rain in probably 3 weeks or so, but normally you would still see some type of moisture moisture present if it was, an active leak.
Active leak, okay.
I don't see any signs of repair or issues within the drywall either. Electrical system, you have a sub panel that is located in the laundry area. Everything looks good on that. And then you have your main electrical panel that's located in the back patio. You'll see that I make a comment about Federal Pacific breakers, or this panel. This panel is original. It has this manufacturer, FPE or Federal Pacific. You'll see that has a narrative that says, hey, they've been known to fail. I always tell my clients, look at, go online, read about them. They'll try to scare you with, oh, this and that. I opened up the panel, I used my thermal imager, I didn't see any signs of excessive heat. Everything looked really, really good. If you're concerned, you can always contact an electrician and they can sometimes just replace the breakers with the more modern breaker they're just retros and they can fit and alleviate those problems. I'll tell you, every single property in this community has that panel. So if they're still standing, just be aware. I always want to err on the side of caution.
Okay. And by the way, you are
I am a fire captain as well, full-time. I've been doing this 20 years. I've been in the fire service for 25 years. So I know a little bit about some of this stuff. You'll see water pressure is great. We want to be between 60 and 80 pounds. We're right at about, I think it's about 78 pounds.
And where's that turnoff for
the shutoff is, it's in the back. It's in the back over here, right behind the electrical panel.
Okay, so everything's kind of right out there.
Yep, and it's around the corner it's past the bogey over there on the right-hand side.
Okay.
Water heater, the only thing everything looks good on the water heater. It's strapped. We're missing a sediment trap, which is a little gas pipe that goes on the gas line in case there's any debris, which is very typical. It just became code like 5 or 6 years ago. That's why they haven't changed it.
Okay.
And then it's missing a pan underneath it. More or less one of those things down the road. When you change them, put the pan underneath it.
And what's the age on that?
It is, I knew you were going to get me on all this, Mark. I should have been.
Course.
2017.
2017.
So, it's still, it's a 40 gallon. Everything on my end looks pretty solid. Just take a peek at it once in a while. Look to see up top if we're starting to see any leaks or corrosion. And if you are, make sure you get somebody out here right away because they will fail pretty rapidly. So just give you a heads up on that.
In the HVAC, when you looked at that?
HVAC's in the closet here. So there's two. It's kind of funny because I ran into the neighbor. I thought the unit that's on your side of the property is yours because it matches this one. It's not. Yours is the little bit older unit. It looks like they're around 2010, which still isn't that old.
Okay.
So just so you're aware, it's the one that's in the little courtyard. You'll see photos of it, all that good stuff. But everything ran great on your furnace. We were getting about 101 degree. It would have probably got up to 110, but I'd rather not have 110.
Thank you for not doing that.
So that's working fine. The only thing I do recommend is installing what is called, there's a flexible gas line that's running through the furnace case. Honestly, it's not a big deal, but I have to tell you, it should have a rigid gas pipe.
Oh, look, there's a sediment trap.
Yeah, and that's what a sediment trap looks like. So that's what it should look like. And it's more or less, they say, the vibration on that thin wall pipe, but you can see how it's connected to that the gas valve. There's no way it could ever touch it just because it's not flexible enough at this point. So
right. So chances are you could probably, if you wanted to, leave it until you replace the whole thing.
Fix it, but
right.
Leave it alone. You know, cooling system, like I said, looks good. We were getting 56 degree out. I mean, it's running right now. It's really chilly. It's working really well.
Yeah, feels good.
I recommend servicing that once a year and then changing your filter every 90 days or so. Jumping into the kitchen space, the garbage disposal, everything looks really, really good. Just it's called the air gap, or the garbage disposal button here. You can see it's just loose. It popped off. Get a little super glue, put it on there, and it'll be good to go. Excuse me.
So it needs a high loop or something? Is that
No,
what
no,
you're saying
no.
with the air
I
gap?
thought it was. That's just the housing.
Okay.
It's just that, and I'll fix the word, the verbiage on here. But that is your button to turn on your garbage disposal. So I was unable to test the range. So the range is electric, and the reason being is it's an induction range, meaning you have to have a magnetic pot that can go on there. And unfortunately, everything's staged right now. There's no pots in the house. So, I mean, it looks to be in exceptional condition. I highly doubt that there's an issue, but just want to let you know, wanted to be upfront and said, hey, I couldn't test it. Cabinet showed a little bit of wear and tear, you know, just typical use. You're going to see, you know, maybe you have to adjust some things over time, some of the caulking or the grout in some items and dings and dents like that. As far as laundry, everything looks really good in the laundry. I don't run their equipment. It's here. I look behind it. I don't see damage. I did note that there's an electrical outlet cover plate and behind the unit that you'll never see. It's just missing the cover. You know, it's a $2 part, maybe.
Okay.
Very simple there. As far as bathrooms, you know, the primary bathroom, that pocket door, it just needs to be adjusted a little bit because it's not latching properly. I noted some of the strike plates were painted, so I tried to take all of the masking tape off, so it could just need a little of adjustment on there. But toilets tied to the floor, drains were functional. Everything looks really, really good. Same thing in the hall bathroom, just a little bit of caulking was deteriorated around the tub enclosure and, you know, the toilet, just very, very minimal type stuff. You're gonna have photos of every room in the home to show you the state that it's in today. And then the two windows in the primary, single hung windows that slide vertically, sash cartridges or counterbalance as some people talk about. They're both broken, all four of them. So the window will not stay open. So they're heavy aluminum windows. If you let it go, the window will crash down. It's a pretty simple fix. It's a handyman deal, or I always say, hey, get on YouTube, cuss out one of the windows, and then you'll figure it out and you'll be able to fix the other. But it's very common. Everything in the window is made out of aluminum or metal, except the retaining clips. They make them out of plastic. Go figure, over time, they become brittle, break, and then you're stuck with two windows that don't want to open. So you'll see that.
But these do open.
They open.
It's just hard.
They just do not. No, they open.
Oh, you'd have to put like a block of wood in them for right now.
You'd have to stick a pipe, or,
okay.
you know, something in there.
Okay.
It's easy enough to fix them. It happens all the time. There's handymen. There's people that specialize in that, but it could be easily fixed. And then there's one light fixture in the primary ceiling. I can't find a switch or what to turn it on. So I looked everywhere. I don't know.
Okay.
It's just maybe
Is it in the center?
it's in the ceiling.
Okay.
It's just like these, exact same. So can't get it to turn on.
So it could be a light bulb, could be something else.
Could
Don't
be
know.
me. Could
Okay.
be me. So I don't know. I was looking all around. Everything else on this property would be considered cosmetic on my end. Little dings and dents. I try to not be the guy that gives you a 100-page report to tell you, hey, you need to paint something. Because a lot of it, I always say there's character in these homes. You know, it's from the 70s. There's not a lot of 70s here. You know, they've scraped the ceilings, they've painted, they've done so much. It's in exceptional condition. You know, once they get all the staging out of here, you may find a couple little dings and dents, but I'm pretty confident, I'm very confident that the bones, the structure of this property is solid as well as all the major components of the home. After looking over the report and watching this video, if you have other questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Mark can track me down as well. But yeah, that is it.
Okay. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it.